Good morning, guys. Today we are going to be talking about ways to grow a garden in the midst of hot summers. Where I am in Southern California, it is dry. We get very hot summers. We had 108-degree weather last week, and so we can have a pretty steady 100-degree weather for a good 3 months out of the year. I have had so many casualties of plants that I have planted, and then next thing you know, the scourge hits. We're at 108 and it annihilates all my new babies. So I'm going to show you some solutions that I use. Share in the comments with me any solutions that you have to how you combat the heat in your area.
Number 1, 40% shade cloth.
If you are having any issues with too much heat and you live in an area where you really want to grow a garden but you're just struggling, I would highly suggest the 40% shade cloth, especially through the heat of the summer. And then what I did was, with the hoops, I pulled out some Schedule 40, which is it's like a PVC for electrical, for outdoor electrical. I pulled it out of one of the construction dumpsters that they were just being thrown away, and I used them, and they're great for making my hoop houses. You can see there, Schedule 40 rigid. At this end, it has a built-in coupling, and so then I just attach an end like this into the coupling. I'll glue it to make my hoops. Let's go take a look how I did it. So here, I dropped my Schedule 40 in right down here, came up above. I don't know if you can see where the shade cloth comes together. That's the thing I love about these repurposed vinyl planter beds. I can drop that Schedule 40 right in there. You don't have to do it that way, but it makes for a great holding for these hoops. And here, this bed, it is a 2x12, and so I just dropped it right in next to one of these stakes, which happens to be a repurposed green fencing stake. Came above, hooped over, wired those guys together right here, and then dropped it down right in there. You could screw it into your wooden box as well. Show you, let's go under. See that? That's like a 40% shade. These hoop houses are also great for stepping away from this heat. Whew, it is a hot one. I believe today is, we're in the little lower hundreds today, but yesterday it actually got up to 112 out here. So whew. Now you don't have to do it exactly how I do it, using repurposed materials. I love to do that. It's something I love to keep stuff out of the landfill. Summertime ain't no joke, and if you live in an area where it gets really hot and where your summers carry on like we do out here, these shade cloths are great. And once the weather starts cooling down, you can remove them, fold them up, put them aside for next season. This has really helped quite a bit. Let's go over to the next one. I can't imagine my Swiss chard doing any better. See, this tomato loves it because it gets the sun. If you have plants that want to get a little more sun, you can always put them on the ends where they are going to get a lot more exposure. But my Swiss chard is doing great, and it still gets sun. My lavender has gone bananas. Sage in the back. This bed here was my inspiration because see my berries. So this bed still needs to be finished, but this blackberry has been growing here for the past few years, and the sun just pummels her. And I was reading about berries, how berries in hotter areas do well with a little bit of the shade cloth. Each item that I discuss, I'll have a link in the description of things that I've used. So, all right, let's move on. Number 2, drip lines and sprinklers. Woo, is it hot? Guys, today I am working on some sprinklers. Alrighty, this is all repurposed piping that I have. Because I do not have in-ground sprinklers, I attached a coupling on the end of there that is 3/4 inch PVC to the female hose nozzle right there. So in order to keep my garden looking like this, I have to make sure that I'm utilizing drip lines. Once again, right there, same thing, hooks up to my hose. I have it going down to my fig. See, you can see here, Look at this. And I watered every night. That was my routine. I would water every night. I still do when I turn on my sprinklers. It gives me so much more time to do other things as well. As you can see down here, I have the dripper systems going in, coming around, going through, coming in through there. Drip lines really help. You can get a good saturation. Be wise with your water and have it in all the right areas. I highly suggest putting in drip lines or some sort of sprinkler. Alrighty guys, number 3. This is all about holding in that moisture. So what I've done is I've laid down my drip lines and I've put straw over top of it. Whether you hand water or whether you're using drippers, this will help to hold in some of that moisture. Let's go take a look at what I've done. You don't have to use straw. You can utilize something else in order to hold in that moisture. Wood chips. Just make sure they're not too big so that they break down easily. Alrighty guys, so that about wraps us up here for this episode of Organically Ann. I hope some of these tips helped you on how to keep your garden healthy, sane during this heat. We talked about shade cloth, we talked about dripper and sprinkler systems, and we also talked on laying down some kind of moisture barrier like straw or wood chips, something that's going to hold that water in once you've watered your plants. I greatly appreciate your time. And yeah, stay tuned for another episode of Organically Ann. We're looking at 110 today. Oh, we are kicking in the hundreds. Anyway, stay cool, stay hydrated, and keep these little babies hydrated as well if you've got some other plants started. Blessings to you and happy gardening.